let's set up a channel. I'm going to make a video about how to do this quickly, but for now, when you're done, after you've done it quickly, you need to come back and do the details so that we're nice and organized. Nobody likes a messy console. Alright, so to operate a channel, you make sure that it's on, you leave it on, and you hit select. Then we'll come up here, we'll double tap on the white square. And from here, we can tap here to put a cursor, we can add a name, we can click here to add an icon, we can click here to color code it, but we can also click the little cog or sprocket or whatever you want to call it and hit custom fader bank. From here we can tap channel 17. Will be on channel 17 on our custom menu. We can add anything to here though. It doesn't have to be channel 17. We can add channel 32 or whatever. But once we've done that, if we go to our custom faders, there it is. There it is, right there. I'm not sending anything to the sub. So let's fix that. So, there's a lot of different ways to do this, to be honest. So, the easiest way is probably just make sure it's selected, and make sure it's right here. And then you can kind of drag up. Alright, there's going to be a section with a lot of numbers, and it'll have ST and sub at the top of the little square. We'll select that. Here, we can kind of assign it to several different places at once. So we're going to hit sub. We're going to make sure the sub is illuminated. And then we're going to fade it in. Okay? Now it's probably best to fade it in to where it says 0. Ironically, that's not the bottom. That's what they call nominal. That's the ideal place on the fader. So we'll start there. We can always dial it back later. And then, as you can see, it's pre-assigned to mute input. So if we hit that, it would mute it. But while we're here, if we wanted to put it in any of the groups, we can do that here by just selecting one of them. Now the square above that is has a bunch of lines and numbers as well, and that'll take you to your auxes. If you go all the way to the end, the sub is there. You can turn it on and do that. So if we go to output and go to sub, hit select, at the top of that it says send from. We can double tap that, and we can scroll all the way over here to track 17, and we can fade it in. Okay, I just turned it off. So there's more than one way to do this. There's a few. Now, if channel 17 is part of an instrument that needs 2 inputs, 2 microphones, or maybe it's stereo. As long as the channel's selected, we go to our screen and double tap the very top button. It'll take us to the gain structure page, or the input gain page. The very top of that, in the middle, it has a stereo link. You can select that, and you can pick whether to link it to the channel before it or the channel after it. Once you do that, they are now tied together. When you raise one, it'll raise the other, and as you see, it color-coded it together, and any other changes we make, it'll do it the same. For example, see how my gain moves together? that's how I have 1 and 2, 3 and 4 set up, because I have it set up for the keyboard, which for some reason marching band people call a synth, and then I have the marimba, which marching band people call a keyboard. There's a lot of cross terminology between the different genres of music. Now, as you're setting this stuff up, if you have a few, like let's say practice is done and we need to go through and name a few of them, we can go through. There's little arrows at the bottom from this screen here. We can skip through without having to come out and go back in. I don't know if it's needed yet. We can set up user access privileges. So if the band director wants maximum privileges, we would set them up as an administrator, and then maybe the assistant band director would also get these privileges, whereas just somebody coming up to play a solo doesn't. However, once you get into this access, I haven't played with it. If it's needed, I'll make a video on it. I'm not sure how quickly you can jump back and forth between them, because usually somebody is dedicated to run these and it doesn't really change. We do have these user-defined keys, which I currently have set up to adjust solo tracks. So just as a demonstration, I have 2 solos there, some solos there, and some solos there. But that just shows how nothing else changed, just the solo mics that were being used. All right, over here on the side, we have some quick access to our outputs. Most of these will be useless. You can change your mono and stereo auxiliaries to become effects. So we have more than just 2 effects channels. Only 2 come to start. You can turn the others on. So if we get into a lot of crazy effects, these might become useful, but right now they're not. So let's say from the input section, we can hit effects 1. And what this does is this turned on our reverb access, and instead of pulling it up on this screen and doing the little faders, it gave us these faders. Now you'll notice it says at the top of these screens, send to reverb effects 1. So you would mix this, you know, I want this and this to go to reverb and all that. And then you come to your second effect, which right now is a delay. That can change, and you could just mix it like you would mixing anything else. And you might find that easier. You know, say this microphone is a little too reverby. We just hit effects 1 and turn it down. If you're wondering what the tap button is over here that keeps lighting up, that is a... Oh, let's clear this. That bothers me. If you're wondering what the tap button is that keeps blinking constantly over here, that's tied in with the effects. You can actually tap along to the tempo of the music, and it'll sync a delay up rhythmically to where it matches, so it doesn't create odd rhythms. I'm in the wrong chair.